Hi, Table Talk community, and I hope everyone is doing well and feeling well and wearing their mask and washing their hands and staying safe. And invisible hugs and kisses to everyone. And we can't, they say we can't communicate and touch each other, and I say we still can communicate and touch each other with our words. Invisible hugs and kisses. I hope you are doing well wherever you are. I have a question from one of our members. And again, thank you so much for the question. Please continue the questions and the comments, and please subscribe because we are building our community and getting bigger and stronger. And the comments are coming from all over. I love your comments because you help me grow and I help you grow, and we stay connected. And we all know connection is power. So thank you so much. Our question for today is, I have ADHD and I am a college student. Conveying this over to my family may be difficult. Do you have any suggestions? Thank you, member, for that question. And the first thing I would suggest is let's talk about communication. When you're dealing with mental illness, communication is so important because getting that information over to your family member, your friends, it's going to be probably perceived differently. Because in my experience, I'll share my story with you. I had to tell my children, I had to tell my sister, I had to tell my brother, and it was very hard for me because I was in my later years when I was diagnosed, and I was diagnosed in different phases of my life. Because the first phase was I was diagnosed with bipolar, and later in my journey with mental illness, I was diagnosed with cluster B personality disorder. And then as I continued on, my doctor noticed the symptoms, and I was sharing that I was experiencing the dreams that I was having from being uh, um, lured and abducted at 7. And then that's when she diagnosed me with PTSD and having those symptoms for that. So that's why sometimes when you're working with your counselor is listening to you and your symptoms and what's going on with you and how your mood is changing in order for her to make a diagnosis. She has to hear you and listen to you, and it might take maybe 1 or 2 visits with your counselor for her to say, okay, for sure, these symptoms match this disease. So be patient and take some time and just stay true to the components. Having a partnership with your counselor is definitely true to your components. They're your partner. So I do understand, member, that you are with your counselor and you are diagnosed already with ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And by the way, invisible hugs and kisses to you because we are surrounding you with love and kisses, and you're going to make it and you're going to thrive through it all. But the communication that you say with your family, it's more so about you. It's more so about how you feel about taking care of you first, making sure that you're okay and comfortable with releasing that information, even with family members. Sometimes you want to do it at your pace, and that's okay. But when you're ready to release that information, you can give that information to them slowly and let them know that you wanted to share something that's very personal to you and you want them to be good listeners. You don't need any comments, you don't need any feedback, you don't need anything other than listening, because it's important to you for them to listen. Because if they start projecting how they feel and what's going on, I'll share a little bit more of my story. I opened up and I shared my information with my children and my sister. And my sister's response to my news, my mental illness news, was, "Oh, well, why don't you just stop it?" And I was so shocked. I was like, "Why don't I just stop what?" She said, "Why don't you just stop misbehaving?" And I had to understand that she did not understand, because you cannot just stop it. These mood swings and these urges and these thought process, these fictitious thinking, they're so strong and they're so powerful, and they're heavy. They feel like weights. And your thought process puts you in such a heavy weight. It's almost like an invitation to harm, or invitation to do something destructive. So you can't just stop it. What you can do is apply positive antidotes and positive components on a routine basis to keep your mind at a balance. And that's very hard to do. And when you're doing it on a daily basis, it's a routine. It's just like doing yoga every day, riding your bike every day. You wake up every day and say, "My mind has got to be at a balance." So I have got to put those things together to keep my mind at a balance, so I can go to school, so I can go to work. And when it comes to having ADHD, I have to bring my mind at a balance so I can stay calm, so I can stay collected, and stay to the point where my thought process is at a calm level where I can function. Because you're so hyper, you're manic, because bipolar, it's almost like we're twins, because bipolar is manicness mixed with depression. So ADHD, you have a little out of control activity there, where you're all over the place. And I do understand. And I am a good listener if you want to go ahead and share more of your story with the community. We're here to be good listeners, and no judgment, none, in the community. But it is just the way we have to handle our routine. So sharing your information is totally up to you. If you want to hold it for a while and talk with your counselor, and you and your counselor come up with a lovely way to say, "You know what? Maybe later. Maybe I'll release this information later, and I'll tell my family, I have something to say and it's very important, but I'm going to do it at my time." And they're going to have to respect that. That's your space. That's your personal information. And they have to give you that opportunity to share that information. And I want to say something to you as a member, that you are accepted and loved on every level. I believe your family members love you. I have no doubt. And the community loves you. Sometimes when you're trying to do something that is so hard, you feel like you're by yourself and you're in a corner and you're pressured to do that particular thing. But you're not pressured. Relax, take some time, talk to your counselor, maybe take a session or two before you decide to release this information to your family members. But we are supporting you. It is all about you. We want you to do well. And thank you so much for the question. That's a big brave thing to do, to bring that question to the table, because that is it's new to you, and then it'll be new to us, and then for you to present that, it's very brave. But you have support on all corners. I wanted to share another information. I went to a particular group, and when I went to this particular group, I was feeling open enough to share my thoughts and my what was going on in my head, and I felt free, and I felt like I was around family. So when I released my information, I felt like it was perceived correctly, but it was not perceived correctly. And I really, really regretted doing it. So that's why I'm reiterating the timing. I reiterate, communication is good in its own context, but timing is so important. You don't have to be in a hurry. You can take your time. You can think about these things, and then you can go ahead and say what you need to say on your own time. Most of the time when I'm in a routine of self-assessment, I stop and I think in my mind, I said, the message that I'm delivering, is it going to be beneficial? That's one of the reasons too. Before I do anything, I stop and I think, the message that I deliver, is it going to be beneficial? Is it going to help someone? Is it going to be edifying in someone's life? Because I don't want to just deliver trash. Then that's a waste. I would like to deliver good information, useful information, and information that you can take and use for your situation wherever you are. And then it is a connection. Remember, we said connection is power? Because then now, once you use it, you share it, and then someone else can benefit from it and grow from it, and then hand it down to another person in need, because we are connected. I want us to build a community that is hand in hand, connected all over the world, where everybody feels like family. You can come to the table, you can share your questions, you can share your comments, and you can get a response that's filled with love, it's filled with information, and it's filled with power, because that's what you want. When I do on our Facebook channel, our new Facebook channel, I do power words. Every day. I pick a word, and then I take that word and I apply it to myself, and then I take that word and then I share it with you, and then you use it And then you share it with someone else, and then they use it, and then so on and so forth, and see the connection. And that's power, because now we're unbreakable when you have a connection like that. And so it's just wonderful. I loved it. I love your question. It was beautiful. Keep those questions coming. Keep those comments coming. It is just wonderful. Thank you so much. Until next time, stay healthy.